पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। वाह!
And in a move that will impact over 25 lakh retired armed forces personnel, the government has revised its one rank, one pension scheme. Vishnu Som has the details.
Well, this is a huge bonanza for India's armed forces veterans, those who've retired. 23,638 crore rupees will be paid as arrears from July 2019 to July 2022. 25.13 lakh beneficiaries, including war widows and next of kin, they stand to benefit from this. The one rank, one pension scheme was declared in 2015 with pension meant to be refixed every 5 years. That will now happen with arrears, which means that that extra amount will be paid out. Now, OROP for the armed forces ensures that officers and Jawans of the same rank are entitled to get the same pension for the same length of service, irrespective of the date that they retired. It was a long-standing demand of the Indian Armed Forces and their veterans. This has now been implemented. That is now being revised.
And the CBI has arrested Chanda Kochar and Deepak Kochar in the ICICI loan fraud case. The former ICICI Bank CEO and her husband were arrested by the CBI as part of its investigation into allegations of irregularities in loans provided to the Videocon Group when she was heading the private sector bank.
The Central Bureau of Investigation has arrested Chanda Kochar, who was the chairman of ICICI Bank in connection with this alleged bank fraud linking the Videocon company. So the Central Bureau of Investigation had registered an FIR against Chanda Kochar and others in connection with this loan that was given by ICICI Bank to Videocon company to the tune of somewhere around 3,000 crores. But according to our sources in the agency, that after Videocon got this 3,000 crore loan from ICICI Bank, almost 60 crore was invested by Venugopal Tooth, who is the chairman of Videocon in the company that has links with Chanda Kochar's husband Deepak Kochar. And that's where the agency is calling this particular 64 odd crores as quid pro quo, or kind of a kickback. So taking this as a prima facie evidence, the agency has initiated a corruption case against Chanda Kochar and others. And what we are being told is that because Chanda Kochar and her husband were not cooperating with the investigation, and that's why the Central Bureau of Investigation today, after a detailed questioning, has arrested both Chanda Kochar and also Deepak Kochar. So what we are also being told is that very soon the agency will be filing a charge sheet against Chanda Kochar, Deepak Kochar, and also Venugopal Tooth in connection with this ICICI Bank Videocon loan case. Like you mentioned, this is the first time the agency is arresting Chanda Kochar, whereas the Enforcement Directorate has already arrested Deepak Kochar in connection with the same case.
Rahul Gandhi and his Bharat Jodo Yatra are all set to enter New Delhi on the 108th day of the Yatra. Rahul Gandhi has been personally walking thousands of kilometers beginning from Kanyakumari on the 7th of September.
अब कह रहे हैं अपनी चिट्ठी लिखी हो हेल्थ मिनिस्टर ने, राहुल जी कोरोना वापस आ गया है, कोविड वापस आ गया है, यात्रा को बंद कीजिए, यात्रा को बंद कीजिए। अच्छा, बाकी हिंदुस्तान में पब्लिक मीटिंग जितनी करानी करा लो, बीजेपी करा सकती है, मगर जहां भारत जोड़ो यात्रा चल रही है वहां पे कोरोना और कोविड।
The plan is to travel to Jammu and Kashmir by the 26th of January, taking a short break during the holiday season. The Congress says they will adhere to any advisory issued by the government to ensure COVID protocol and ensure minimum distance to the general public.
भारत जोड़ो यात्रा 1 महीने से ज़्यादा समय से चल रही है, कहीं भी चल रही थी, कहीं किसी ने कोई अवरोध पैदा नहीं किया, कौन उसमें जुड़ रहा था इससे भी हमें कोई मतलब नहीं था। आखिर अगर दुनिया भर में फिर एक बार संकट कोविड-19 का आया है और इस पे चिंता पूरी दुनिया ने व्यक्त की है और भारत सरकार ने उचित कदम उठाए हैं, तो आखिरकार इसका कांग्रेस पार्टी विरोध क्यों कर रही है?
Rahul Gandhi has focused on issues of unemployment, corruption, lack of governance, hatred towards communities, among other issues, but says this is not linked to any election. With no electoral goal in the Yatra, the Congress now wants to take it forward by launching its second phase of a Jodo campaign across the country, house to house, with a letter from Rahul Gandhi and a charge sheet against the Narendra Modi government. With elections in 2023, the Congress now wants to have an electoral impact and has decided to do a door-to-door campaign across the country to ensure that its message of the Yatra gets across to a majority of its citizens. With camera person Kanan Patra, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
And in a tragic road accident involving an army truck in North Sikkim, 16 brave hearts of the Indian Army have lost their lives. The ill-fated vehicle was part of a 3-vehicle convoy that had moved from Chatan in the morning towards Tangu and en route at Zima. The vehicle skidded down a steep slope while trying to negotiate a sharp turn. A rescue mission was immediately launched. 4 injured soldiers were managed to be air evacuated. Let's take a look at India's COVID situation right now. 3,380 active cases have been reported, but the number of tests stand at 1,25,000, more than that. But there's been an uptick in vaccine doses at 87,723 doses have been administered. And this is because there is now increasing fear, concern, alarm over the huge increase in cases being reported outside of from inside of China. I beg your pardon. This even as the government has approved a needle-free intranasal COVID vaccine, which is available on the COVID app from Friday.
"32-year-old Delhi resident Anuradha Verma rushed to get her third or precaution dose after news of the COVID surge in China. Her third dose is delayed by nearly 6 months.
The situation around, especially in China, that the news came, and my booster dose was have been pending for long. So I just wanted to get the shot because I got COVID in Delta wave and it was really bad. So don't want to go there again.
A big rush at many vaccination centres across Delhi. 24 hours after, the Prime Minister chaired a COVID review meeting and the government listed out new steps to tackle any fallout of the COVID situation in China. Data from the COVID app shows that daily registrations for the booster dose have gone up almost 14 times in the past 4 days, from 4,000 a day on December 19th to over 57,000 a day 4 days later. Today, the government also approved India's first intranasal COVID vaccine that will be available at private vaccination centres for now. The government says that the new vaccine can be taken as a booster dose by those vaccinated with Covishield or Covaxin.
We've been seeing a real high numbers of people coming over for vaccination since the last, I think I should say from the last 1 week, or I should say rather 4 days. But definitely we are vaccinating hardly say 5 or 10 people a day, which would be just about 1 vial. But now we are vaccinating almost about 150 people a day.
The Union Health Minister today chaired this high-level review meet with health ministers of all states and union territories, urging them to conduct drills at hospitals and COVID care centres and take stock of logistics and infrastructure to fight an unexpected surge in COVID cases.
स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय इसे स्वयं पूर्ण रूप से देख रहा है। कल आपको मालूम भी है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बड़ी उच्च स्तर की बैठक भी ली है कोविड की तैयारियों के विषय में, और उसी के तहत आज हमारे स्वास्थ्य मंत्री राज्य मंत्रियों के साथ भी बैठक ले रहे हैं और पूर्ण रूप से हम लोग तैयारी के मोड में हैं ताकि इस कोविड का सामना हम लोग साथ में मिलकर कर पाएं।
Test, treat and vaccinate remains at the heart of India's COVID response. The Union Health Minister today said that the centre and states have to work in a collaborative spirit to fight a possible surge in COVID cases, also urging the states to ramp up genome sequencing. With the festive season ahead of us, the message is to mask up in public places, maintain physical distancing and get the booster shot. In New Delhi with camera person Sudesh, Vedant, NDTV.
And the Kerala journalist, a Malayali journalist, Siddique Kappan, who was arrested on terror charges while on his way to UP's Hathras to report on that horrific story about the Dalit woman, that young lady's rape and murder 2 years ago, got bail on Friday in a money laundering case from the High Court. He'd already gotten bail in the terror case filed under the UAPA and other related laws from the Supreme Court in September, but he had to remain in jail in Lucknow as he had gotten no relief so far in this related case filed by the ED. They framed charges against him and six others under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now, he could walk out of jail after 2 whole years. More news coming up after a short break. The big international story: 3 people have been killed, 3 others injured in a shooting in central Paris on Friday. The shooter is a man in his 60s. He has been arrested. The accused is above the age of 60. The Paris police are saying this is not a terror attack. And doctors in China are now admitting on record that the COVID surge in the country is leading to a big strain on health infrastructure, even as China has officially logged just a handful of COVID deaths since most restrictions, part of the stringent zero COVID policy, were lifted a fortnight ago, and the government redefined the criteria by which COVID deaths would be counted.
A 400% rise in patients, almost all of them serious, coming to the emergency fever clinic of this major Beijing hospital in the last few days. According to doctors, in this footage, released by the Chinese state-owned broadcaster CCTV. This is a rare on-record admission of the COVID chaos for a country that has so far claimed all is well, despite overwhelming social media evidence.
以前我们每天大概这个内科的病人只有100多，现在我们每天有将近400。这些病人都是大家可以看到这种老年人，有基础病，再合并这次的发烧我们说这个呼吸道感染以后，病情都非常的重，科室的人员就留守在医院里面。另外呢，医院呢也派出了支援的队伍。
A top doctor at the prestigious Johns Hopkins University in America tweeted about his conversations with Chinese doctors, who reportedly told him, and I quote, "They are now experiencing an uncontrolled epidemic, straining their hospitals and resulting in high death counts, many not reported." The Chinese state broadcaster CCTV reported that officials in Nanjing, in the eastern part of the country, have restricted the sale of anti-fever drugs to 6 tablets per person to meet rising demand. Social media posts and anecdotal evidence suggest huge numbers of people are being infected across China and that the number of deaths is surging too. But the Chinese government has defended its response.
新冠肺炎疫情发生近3年来，中国政府坚持人民至上、生命至上，从自身国情出发，制定符合最广大人民利益的防疫政策。
China's COVID situation also appears to be impacting industry and supply chains. This video was tweeted by Chinese-origin human rights activist Jennifer Zheng and appears to show courier goods piling up at a warehouse in Shanghai, China's biggest city and a global financial hub. A report by the business news website Bloomberg quoted the China Silicon Industry Association as saying, "The COVID situation is having an impact on supply chains for solar companies, with manufacturers of a solar panels component having curtailed operations." Bureau Report, NDTV.